welcome to a brand new episode here on Carmlet's Farm. So I just thought, because I forgot at the end of the last episode to show you around the animals and what I'd done. So obviously the sheep have been fed. He looks dead, but I'm sure he's just asleep. That's the hope anyway. Funny story about that actually. So on the first farm that I worked on, we had a shed at the end. The farm was quite a big area. It was on to the boss's house, and the farm was at the back of it. And we had a big long, what used to be a railway shed, and that was where we used to have our lunch and what have you. But that was the front half, but then the back half of the shed was used for storing like the farm lawnmowers and etc. Well, right next to the shed was the sheep pen, and I gets to work one day, and I goes and takes my bag down to the shed to put my bag in, ready for lunchtime. I think it was probably late autumn, maybe even the winter time. Put my bag in, got on with the day. Noticed the sheep near the shed that was laying on the floor, just like that, but didn't sort of really think much of it. I was asleep. Went for my lunch, and came back from lunch, and the sheep was still laying on the ground like that. So when the boss came, I said to him, I said, I'm not sure. I said, but I think one of the sheep is dead. And he sort of laughed at me, and he went, no. He goes, I would say it's asleep. So I'm like, okay, fair enough. So anyway, get on with my sort of afternoon, at work, and sort of getting on with stuff and sorting stuff out, etc. And about 3 o'clock, my boss comes to me and he says, I think you might be right, He said, I think that sheep might be dead. So I said, yeah. He said, yeah. He said, he hasn't moved, has he, all day? And I said, no. I said, he was laying there when I got there this morning. So he said, okay. He said, well, I'll go get the forklift. You go into the pen and sort of wait for me there. So I goes in. Well, it's a paddock really, rather than a pen. But I goes into the paddock. It was a massive paddock. I mean, it was and so I walks through, because the gates to the paddock were quite a bit away from where the sheep was actually laying, and the shed and everything like that. So had to sort of walk around. Anyway, I got round, and the boss had brought the forklift and the tarpaulin and the straps, because we carried him in like a sling, if one was unfortunate enough to have died. And anyway, I'm not really standing too close to this sheep, sort of keeping my distance. I'm not an animal person. So working on a farm sometimes that involved sort of Lincolnshire red cattle and sheep was not always the best for me, because, as I say, I'm not really an animal I'm not even a domestic animal person. And so I'm sort of standing there. So he says, have you been up to it? So I said, no, I didn't go anywhere near it. So he said, fair enough. He said, come on then, let's go and have a look. Well, he was getting something out of the forklift, and whatever he was sort of doing. And I've walked over to this sheep, and as I've kind of leant over the sheep to, sort of to check whether or not he is actually dead, as I literally get down to him, and the bloody thing leaps up in the air. Well, I sort of fall backwards, because it's sort of taken me by complete and utter surprise. And of course, the one thing that I didn't I didn't realise that A, it was there, and B, that I'd sort of done it, was I'd fallen backwards into this huge, great big sheep pile of poo. My boss is stood at the forklift, kind of like looking at me, absolutely laughing his head off. And oh dear me, and I absolutely reeked of it. And because I had to and I said to him, I said, oh, I can't get in my car like this. I said, like, my car's gonna stink. So he said, well, take the because they had a truck that they used solely for animals. It was when foot and mouth was, and so as not to be cross contaminating. So the only vehicles that were allowed to go in there was, because we had 2 forklifts on the farm, and only one of the forklifts was ever allowed into the animal pens, and only one truck with the animal I for William animal trailers was ever allowed into the pens, and that was kind of what we did. And we had like the dips and everything that you sort of needed, to go through. And so he said, yeah, well, take the truck home, he said, and get yourself all changed and everything, he said, and then I'll come down on it was usually the Dexter, the Super Dexter that they had, and he said, you can take the Dexter back, I'll take the truck back, and then you can pick your car up. So that's kind of what we ended up doing. But oh dear me, it was it didn't half make me jump. Let's put it that way. Frightened the bleeding life out of me. But it's very funny. And of course, the next day, John, who I worked with, there was sort of the two of us that did all the, we were the 2 tractor drivers, and because he got to work, and Anthony told him all about it, and oh yeah, he laughed, and it was a huge, great big bit of fun at my expense, but it was very funny, to be fair. But anyway. That sheep just reminded me of that story, so I thought I'd share it with you. But right, so from the last episode, we obviously harvested the corn, and we then ploughed it, and I got that done just off camera, just because there was only a little bit to do, so it wasn't much. So yeah, I got that done. Today, first thing, what we're going to do, get the fertilizer, and we are going to fertilise the soybean field. I don't know whether there's enough in there or not. Touch and go. There might be, there might not be. But we'll go down there anyway, and we'll make a job of it. We'll get that done, and then we got to get the drag back on and get the new cropping field ready to go. So that's what we need to do, and I wouldn't be surprised as well if that's sugar beet is also ready to be harvested. So we will have to do that as well. So we, as I say, we're sort of busy at the moment. But when you play the game this way, on what I call sort of continual harvest, then you sort of are going to end up being quite busy all of the time, because there's always crops that are going to be ready and stuff like that. So but yeah, so it's a busy old time, but still a fun time, as I say, with lots to do and lots to change, and there'll soon be more fields or more grass areas being bought, and then mowed, obviously, and then turned over. We will need to do probably another mowing and selling session, because as I say, money's quite low at the moment, and there are a few bits that I do need, namely the sugar beet harvesting stuff, because at the moment we've got sugar beet that's ready and no way to harvest it, and obviously the machines are too high a horsepower for me to have or to use them. So we've got some trail bits that bits of kit that you've seen in the Britons episode, I think it was, where I've been using it. It was in fact the Britons episodes. So yeah, we've got that to do today as well. So we've got to, as I say, get that turned over, get that grass area turned over, and then we need to buy another one, and then get that baled, and then get those bales sold. And then once we get those sold, that will give us the bit of money that we need, and we should be able to do a good mix up then of selling, and then also keeping them for our animals. But we have got quite bit of silage in stock now, and our feeder is also full of silage as well. So as I say, we have got quite a bit, so we can get away with getting another at least one more. Or in fact, that to my right of me there, that looks about ready. So we could cut that. But as I say, we do need to just keep buying land at the moment. So we've got enough arable fields, and it would be nice as well to have some fields with crops on, where we can just sell the crops, and then that can be our income, because it's going to be a while before the animals start earning us money. Um, that's going to be a while before that happens. So if we could have just a field like this field of soybeans, for instance, when these get harvested, I may just sell the soybeans for the money, just to help the farm sort of get going. I think I mentioned in the last episode as well about loading the game, having the game on, turning it off, doing my videos, loading the game back up again, and then the DLCs and the game not working, and my DLCs were completely removed from my game. So I had to go. Luckily, um, I was able to get them back sort of relatively easy by just going to the download portal and typing in my product keys and downloading them that way. So that, although it was an inconvenience, it wasn't a complete disaster, because at least they were there for me to re-download. But I haven't noticed that it has caused a few issues with a couple of my saves. So at the moment, I've not seen anything with this save that is not how it was. I've watched the episode back before whatever happened to my game happened, and as far as I can tell, nothing is different yet. The only thing I haven't done at the moment is gone the other side of the farm to see whether or not the silos are still there, because all my silos have disappeared as well. Not only the downloadable ones from Giants, but also the modded ones that I had in as well. So I have no idea what happened, because as I say, I loaded it up that morning, everything was working a treat. I then switched it off, did what I needed to do in terms of my videos, and then reloaded the game back up, because obviously I was going to then start recording the next block of videos. And as I say, the game wouldn't open for a long time. Then it wanted my product key, so I'd put my product key in, and then it would say product key is invalid and what have you. And I was honestly, I felt as sick as a dog for a while. I was like, no, my game can't disappear. Sort of, even without YouTube, the game is all I have. It's the only reason I get out of bed in the mornings. It's just so that I can, sort of farm and play farming sim. And but luckily the game is working again. And as I say, but for a few little inconveniences and minor issues, there doesn't seem to be too much that has happened. But there are a few more downloads that I've or packs that I've bought, DLC packs that I've bought, that are no longer there, like the premium expansion pack, and now apparently I don't have the Vermeer pack either. So they're going to have to be re-downloaded and reinstalled and everything. But so basically, my point being, if there is stuff that is missing or has affected this game save and where we're at and the work that we've put in, which at the moment doesn't appear to be the case, but if such a thing as we do notice, I don't know whether we'd be able to see, yeah, the silos are still there. So that was my biggest concern, because if I remember correctly, they're modded silos that I've got, but they're still there. So that's good. But yeah, all I was going to say was, if there is something that has changed, then I will just put it back to how it was. Luckily, because obviously, I record all of this, I can just go back to a recording and see how it all was, and just put it straight back to, um, you know, how and what it was when everything happened. So, but yeah, it's honestly, it was, if felt like the end of the world when my game didn't work. But it's a bit silly because it is only a computer game at the end of the day. But as I say, without it, I'd sort of struggle. We just had enough in here. I think we're going to get to the end with just enough spare, which is good. As I say, it started raining now anyway. So although we can harvest sugar beet in the rain, as I say, we're not going to this time. Just because I want to get on with ploughing that grass down there and getting it into a field, and then we can excuse me, and then we can get it to. Well, I think we just ran short, but that's okay. That's only a little bit. But this might be able to go now. Although I have just bought all that fertiliser, but that doesn't matter so much because I am putting fertiliser now in with the seed, so that helps a great deal. But we'll stand this up here for now. We'll get the drag on, or the cultivator on, or however you want to refer it, and then we'll go down there and get that done. And while we're doing that, I will again switch it over to a little bit of time lapse, so that it goes by a little bit quicker for you than what it will do for me. But I'm going to have fun because I love doing this job. So, but yeah, so I'll see you in a little while when when I've got this bit of field done. Bye for now. So how are we all doing? As you saw, we've got course play now power in this field, which is very good. And we'll get this one done off camera, and then we will. I will then drill both fields. So that field over there that was corn, that course play powered earlier, I'm going to drill that with sunflowers. This one's going to be drilled with wheat, just so that we get another supply of straw and obviously wheat for the chickens. That's what's going to feed the chickens. So hopefully, because I think that chicken coop is about 5,000, so eventually there's going to be over 5,000 chickens in there. So while there isn't, I think, I can't remember, there's only a few hundred in there at the moment. But while there is only a few hundred and they're not taking a great deal of food, we need to build the stock of wheat up. So this field's coming wheat. As soon as we get the sugar beet out of this field's coming wheat. And that will give us a good head start with the wheat, because at the moment those chickens are not eating too much. So that's fine. I've had a quick look at this grass. That this is going to be our excuse me, our permanent supply of grass, and it's looking very patchy, and I don't quite know why it's looking like this. So if this doesn't come to much and it stays very patchy, then what I'm going to do, or have to do, is plough this up, because it's quite a big area. It goes all the way down there. Because I think, if I remember correctly, I bought this one 25 and then the next one as well, just so that we had more than enough grass to cope with the amount of hay and silage and everything else that we're going to soon start needing when the sheep, start multiplying, the beef stock start multiplying, and obviously we're going to need hay for the total mixed ration. So it's all going to need doing. So we're going to need a big area of grass, and but if this does come very patchy and doesn't come properly, it's going to have to be ploughed up pretty quick and then re-drilled with grass, and we'll just have to farm this as grass that we set every 3 harvests, that we'll have to plough it then, and then reset it again. I'm a bit worried about this Massey Ferguson. I don't know whether I've got the wrong weight on the front, but it looks very front heavy. And as you can see from the images there's quite a lot of wheel slip going on. So I have no idea why that is. Another thing that's bothered me as well, while we've been busy with our jobs and you guys have been sort of watching and listening to music, is when I approach that trailer, there is really, really terrible lag. I'm not going to run towards it now because I do fear that it might crash the game. But you obviously saw in the time lapse, or the time lapse sometimes is quick enough to run it out so that it's not actually very noticeable. But for me, because obviously I'm doing this at normal time, it virtually stops my game. So I don't know why that trailer's doing that, but yeah. So as I say, next episode we're gonna get some more hay and put some more hay in here, because although I did put a trailer full in, there still needs to be a bit more in there. We could top up the straw and the silage a little bit. There will come a point where the feeding machine, sorry, not the milking machine, will fill the trough up, and it will literally only be putting a few hundred litres in there every hour, or however often it is that it refills. So we're going to be cool on that one, so we just get that done. But yeah, otherwise the farm at the moment is looking superb and is currently working. Everything is working as it should. We've got a good supply of silage, good supply of straw. We don't need hay bales, just because we've got the grass, turning the grass drier, so that provides us with all the hay that we'll need. Should there come a point where we are then producing way more hay or grass than that can cope with, then I might start baling. Then I might start turning that over. We've got our sheds ready for our seed and fertilizer bags once we start. The biggest issue with that is that obviously with the way that we're sort of playing and the way this save is set up and the way the challenge was set up, we're continually drilling, we're continually fertilizing and and doing all of that good stuff, and it means that it's kind of inconvenient to have it all the way down there in the shed. And that's kind of why the combine, the trailer, the fertilizer, and the combine headers and stuff, and the seeds and the fertilizer have all been kept down this end, because as soon as we get that off, we'll plow it over, we'll drill it, and we'll be sort of ready to go again. But anyway, I'm going to leave it here for this episode. If you haven't done already, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really does help me and the channel. Also, wherever you may share them, and wherever you may enjoy sharing these videos, please do share my content. It's great to get new people into the channel, and also as well leaving comments and different things. So I really appreciate it. As I said in the last episode, we've got a new target now. 1st of July, I would like to maybe be lucky enough to get 400 subscribers. So if you if you haven't done already, just click that little subscribe button. It's free to do, and of course that will notify you then every time I drop an absolute top quality video, which is every one, of course. But anyway, thanks ever so much for joining me on this video. I've really enjoyed having your company, and I hope you join me again next time. Bye for now.